This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, April 11th show. I am committed to providing you knowledge needed to be successful in every arena regarding your financing. Knowledge is power, and that's what you'll receive by listening to my show. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, you can call into the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. I can connect you with any of the guests that I have in studio today, and I can answer or have a guest that can answer almost any question that you have when it comes to your financing. In studio right now, another first-time guest I have an opportunity to talk with is Lisa Shilling with John L. Scott. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me in studio.
Thank you for having me, Tina. It's great to be here.
And a little background about Lisa, an investor in real estate since 1983. 15 years with John L. Scott, multiple years winner of 5-star highest in client satisfaction. Production levels, President Elite, Chairman's Circle, luxury home and marketing specialist, and specializes in new construction. Lisa is owner of Jackson Valley Ranch Center and director of Seven's Heaven. And again, Lisa, it's such a privilege and a pleasure to sit down and talk with you, and especially in the luxury home arena, because like anything else, anything that is special in its own space, you really want to be working with an expert in that space. So what is the luxury home market doing right here in Seattle, Lisa?
Actually, it's following the trend of the rest of the market, as
And
Greg
is that
said.
usual or unusual that happens?
It's very unusual for right now. We define the luxury home market as anything priced at over $1 million.
Okay.
And
I'm surprised it's not higher than that. But anyways, go ahead.
Depends on the area, but in general terms, that's how we define our luxury market.
Okay. And Lisa, what drives this market?
That's a great question, Tina. Typically what drives it is jobs, the higher end jobs.
Okay.
And we're also seeing a lot of people coming from other parts of the world
Yes.
that have a lot of money, and they expect to live in a very nice home, a luxury home.
And is there anything else other than the employment and jobs that are that drives this market, or is that the main?
I think consumer confidence helps also.
Sure.
Because as things improve, people start to dream again.
Yes.
And realize, gosh, I've got this lifestyle that I really love. I'd like to walk out my front door and play golf.
Makes total sense.
Or I'd like to walk out my front door and jump off my dock.
Yes.
Or I'd like to walk out my front door and jump on my horse and go for a ride.
Yes.
So that's...
And if they're doing good in other areas of the market, like the stock market, and they definitely have a little bit more money to spend on those luxury homes and feel a little bit safer in doing that.
Exactly.
So let's drill down a little bit more on the luxury market and what it's doing right now, Lisa.
Well, right now, the average days on market for homes sold in the past 6 months is 80 days, which is not very long in real estate terms. We've got about 1,000 homes on the market in the greater Northwest MLS area. About half of those are in King County.
Okay.
And about half of those are on the east side.
1,000 luxury homes.
Correct.
Over that million. Okay, wow.
Correct. Not very many.
Yeah, not very many at all. So how does this sector of the market influence the other sectors?
Well, the great thing about luxury homes is that when you do have higher end homes, it actually brings the value of other neighboring neighborhoods. So, for instance, when you have new construction and you have a builder that, say, comes in and builds homes that are $1.2 million.
Okay.
That's going to elevate the existing homes and the desirability of the existing homes as well.
Okay.
Conversely, I've seen other luxury homes built in maybe a $200,000 or $300,000 neighborhood. It becomes very, very difficult for that luxury homeowner to sell it.
And they always do say that, you want to buy the least appealing home in a neighborhood.
Absolutely.
It makes total sense. So with the lack of inventory, Lisa, that's happening right now in the medium price range, and first time home buyers are just having a heck of a time out there with properties. How is it comparing in the luxury market, which again, as Lisa described, it's your home that's over $1 million falls into that luxury. How are you guys doing in that inventory in comparison to the other markets?
I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing multiple offers towards the 1 million mark. As you get over 2 million, I'm actually seeing a lot more activity in that market as well. Waterfront homes tend to go a little bit more quickly.
Okay.
Homes that have very desirable school districts like Mercer Island,
Makes sense.
West Bellevue, those tend to go a little bit more quickly. And again, they're going to be much more that $1 million mark.
Yeah. And is this unusual that usually that you're seeing the luxury market follow as far as the inventory availability, or is this typical? When you're low inventory in the other markets, you do see that in the luxury market?
I would say it tends to rise to the top also.
Yes.
So what we see is pressure from the move-up buyer also.
Okay.
Not just people coming in.
Makes sense.
We got very far behind in new construction in the downturn.
Yes.
And they're still not really catching up. There's still a lot of new construction that people can't buy a finished house.
Yes.
They're buying pre-sales. And, we're just rapidly trying to quickly catch up with what we lost.
Makes total sense. And then you talked about employment and the opportunity here. And we do have a lot of people, as you said, coming in from other parts of the world for the employment opportunity. I mean, at Amazon and Microsoft, and they're making a lot of money and they're buying these luxury homes, which just is making it more challenging. What about the comparison of our luxury properties here compared to other parts of the country?
We are still a great value here in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
I like to look at the Silicon Valley. I like to look at San Francisco, New York, just for fun, but it's a good comparison too.
Okay.
Denver luxury market. We have a lot of people here that really they want the lifestyle. And we're still very, very affordable compared to some of those other cities.
And they're saying that we're trending and heading towards the new San Francisco is what I've heard kind of out there flying around.
I have heard that as well. We're still, we are measurably within a certain percentage point of San Francisco, and we're starting to get up towards the one figure, not two figures.
Got it. So in compared to the higher market and home prices, let's talk about appreciation, because I do get this question a lot. And of course, I refer back to the realtor, because that's really your guys' arena when you talk about appreciation. But what's the difference between appreciation from a luxury home versus the other price points?
That's a great question, Tina. So we always talk about real estate in general terms, but it really is a specific commodity. Mm-hmm. But in general terms, let's say the whole market's going up by 10%.
Okay.
A $100,000 house is going to go up $10,000.
Okay.
$1 million house is going to go up $100,000.
Yes.
So just do the math.
Do the math. I know. So that more expensive luxury home, just at the same percentage, you're going to see a higher return.
Exactly.
Now, what makes a luxury market home expert? Because as I said in the introduction to you coming into studio, I think in any market, if you're buying investment property, a new construction, luxury, a first-time home buyer market, you have some areas that you really are an expert in. And I think in the luxury home, it's really important. So what makes a luxury home real estate expert?
I think understanding the area, understanding the homes, what makes a luxury home more desirable than another one if I'm working with a seller, understanding how to make that commodity much more saleable when working with the buyer, really just educating them as to what our market's doing, what's a good value, what's not a good value, experience.
And is the negotiation process different if you're negotiating in a first-time home buyer price range versus negotiating a luxury home? Do you see difference in that piece of it?
Yes, I do, Tina. I think people who are in the luxury home market are for the most part, a little bit more sophisticated, maybe a little bit more jaded.
Okay.
I don't see the fear that I see sometimes with first-time home buyers.
And it makes sense.
I work with first-time
even though they're buying $2 million instead of $500,000, but
exactly.
They make a lot more money, so there's a lot more risk there, or lack of.
Exactly.
So, what about the best areas in our local market here? If you're looking at purchasing a luxury home, what are the areas that you're advising your clients to if they're just thinking about the appreciation aspect of it and forget the lifestyle maybe as much, but the best value?
Oh, but I'm all
a
about
return.
I'm all about lifestyle.
Okay, well, let's talk about lifestyle. Let's talk about lifestyle first. I'm about lifestyle too, but some people are just about that bottom line money.
So I think you're always safe with the waterfront, like Washington, East Side, the Bellevue areas.
So lifestyle and money wise.
Exactly. You have the combination of the two. Anytime you have a view, you have waterfront, you have something really that makes it more than just a home. The strong areas are always Mercer Island, Clyde Hill, Medina, Evergreen Point, West Bellevue.
And because, again, you talked about schools. So
correct.
Those are in great school zones, areas.
That's a big driver for families, is to have their kids in a good school.
You know, I lived in a beautiful home in Newcastle, right up from the Seahawks practice, whatever we're calling that. But it is in our cul-de-sac or our area. We're in the Renton School District. And my husband and I, unfortunately, don't have any kids going to school. But so we weren't really thinking about it, but it makes a difference.
It does.
Just right down the street if you're out of the Renton School District. Now, all our neighbors send their kids to private schools, but I would imagine if you could just get into the right school district, it would be a better option.
I have clients that don't have children yet that are still looking at school district as a priority for them. So it really is a big driver.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, what about time-wise? And is this the best time, an okay time if you're considering buying a luxury home? What are you saying time?
I think it's a great time, especially if you're going to be leveraging and using a mortgage broker and getting a mortgage, because interest rates are still historically low. There's some great programs out there, and there's some wonderful, wonderful opportunities still.
Yeah. Now, Lisa, on a note as far as doing mortgages, because in the mortgage arena, I mean, we really want to be able to educate clients on all their different options. And when you get into a luxury home, there's a minimum down payment requirement. You're going to come in with a 20% down. But a lot of these buyers do have availability, and they've got 50, 60% down payment. But the reality of right now with interest rates so low and real estate being a totally different asset class than any other asset class, because you're not taking money from one asset class that's the value of that's going to go down because it's gaining on a lower amount, whereas real estate, it doesn't matter how much you owe on that loan, it's going to be based that gain on the value of the house. So in this multiple offer scenario, even in the luxury market, the lack of inventory, how are you advising if somebody has a 50% down, but financially it just doesn't make sense and it makes more sense to do the 20%? Are you seeing that is having an impact on whether their offer is getting accepted, Lisa?
You know, it is.
And so how do you get around that?
Again, it's communicating with the seller.
Okay.
If I'm representing a buyer, what really is important to that seller?
Okay.
Is it, gosh, I want some security, because the security is the buyer with the more money down.
Yes.
Is it price?
Yes.
Then maybe we adjust our price upwards.
Okay.
Is it timing? Mm-hmm. I've actually seen where the sellers wanted to stay in the property a little bit longer.
Yes.
And that's been the winning.
Just like Greg said, I'm really getting an idea of what the seller's needs are and what they want and strategize your offer. Exactly. And here's a creative thing from the mortgage side, professional is go in and do that large down payment. Do a no closing cost loan. If you want to get the property and you want to minimize your investment, do a no closing cost loan and then turn around after you've been in the property for 6 months or so and refinance into a cash out option to where you can get that cash back. The risk there obviously is the interest rates and where they're at right now. So it's just kind of strategizing and seeing what you're willing to do to get your offer accepted in this competitive offer, regardless of the price that we're in.
Tina, that's a great option. And I think that's really the majority of our jobs, is really giving our clients options.
Yes.
And, looking down the road 6 months and looking at what their cash position is now, and do they really want the house bad enough to do that?
Yep, makes total sense. Lisa, thank you so much for coming into studio. It was a pleasure to chat with you, and glad you're having fun in that luxury home market with lack of inventory. Thank you, girl.
Tina. Thank you.
And that is the day. I'm your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the afternoon, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. I'll be here same time, same place, right here at 1150 a.m. KKNW.